Hello everybody, this is going to be our first web tutorial from Bemused Imaging. We're going to cover a variety of subjects related to all of the services that we offer over time, but today I thought I'd start with one of the most common questions that we have. So at Bemused Imaging, we build websites, mainly WordPress websites, although we do some other kind of platforms as well. WordPress is kind of our go-to. The goal is always to be able to hand off the websites once we're done to our clients and then give them the power, show them how to use their websites, and give them the power to be able to be in control of their own destiny. So today I'm going to start from the beginning and showing you how to install WordPress, install a theme, and populate it with dummy content. So once you have that, you'll have a fully functioning website, but it'll be filled with words and pictures that do not belong to you, and you will have to replace them. It is, however, a huge time saver to work with an appropriate theme, user-friendly theme that already sitemaps it for you, and you just figure out what the best flow is for you and take it from there. So basically the first step is you have to have hosting. So hosting, there's a lot of hosting providers. We do use GoDaddy. We also have Bemused hosting. It's essentially a reseller account through GoDaddy, but it's the same thing for less money. So if you go to justbemused.com, you can see all of our products here if you're interested, but what I'm using right now falls under the web hosting. Specifically, it is WordPress hosting. The advantage of using a managed WordPress hosting is that the servers are optimized for what the WordPress platform looks like and how it operates. But for this, I'm going to use our GoDaddy account and show you how easy it is. So when you have a GoDaddy account and you have set up managed WordPress hosting, you go to your products. And then you go down to where it says Manage WordPress and Manage. Take a second. If any of these load times are long, I will just scrub through them so you don't have to endure all of the seconds waiting that I did. Alright, so you can see these are a lot of the sort of staging sites that we do for some of our clients. This is always where they start. That way, by having them on a temporary domain, we are able to give them the URL link so they can see in real time our progress on their project. But if I wanted to add a site, click Add Site. We have two different kinds of hosting since we do developing for our clients, but you more than likely would just have one. So you choose the plan if there are more than one kind of plan, but usually this is the first screen that you'll see once you click Build a Site. So here's where you decide whether you're building a new site or migrating a site. Since we build sites for our clients, usually we are migrating a site. I'll build it here under our hosting, and then I'll migrate it to their hosting. But for this example, you're building a new site. So let's get started. All right, pick a domain or use a temporary domain. Usually that's the safest place to start. You don't necessarily want the thing that you're building, especially if you're just learning WordPress, to be live for all the world to see on the domain name that is ultimately going to be your company. So just start on a temporary domain, click Next. If you're in North America, maybe some of our viewers won't be, but I'm assuming you are. Click Next. Come up with a WordPress username and password. This is what you're going to use to log in directly to your website once it's done, so you don't have to go through your hosting platform every time to get there. I recommend using something that, well, you write down. For this purpose, we'll just say new WordPress admin password. I'm just going to choose a random one. Just make sure if you do that that you either screen cap or copy and paste that somewhere where you can save it. And then you install. Again, this might take a few minutes. I might have to fast forward this for you guys, but usually it takes less than 5. All right, and here we are. So you can either go to your dashboard if you know what you're doing, or we can go through this. I'm assuming you guys have never done this before, so we're just going to go through the walkthrough. It's as easy as it gets. So start the wizard. What type of website? Is this meant to just be a blog? Is this meant to be a store? Or is this a website or blog? For most situations, website and blog is fine. This, by the way, does not mean that you cannot have e-commerce on your website. It's just what your primary purpose for your website is. Industry, if there's one that's relevant to you, great, choose it. If not, it's kind of arbitrary. I believe that this helps with your SEO if you choose something that's appropriate to your business. So let's assume it's graphic design. Here's where you would put your company name, capitalize that, and catchy motto. Okay. Click continue. Then your email, your phone number. If you still use fax, go for it. You want to put your address there. If you have like a brick and mortar or whatever, that might be relevant. If you don't, if it's just for an online business, that's not necessarily something you have to put. Another thing that's good to do, though, is to right here include your Facebook profile for your business, and your Instagram, and your Google Plus, and whatever the hell else you want to include. I would say at minimum having a Facebook and an Instagram is pretty much standard business practice in today's day and age. But if you use Google Plus as well, even if you don't see the value in it, I guarantee Google does. They want people to be using it, and so you tend to get a little bit of an SEO boost if you include that on your site. Let's click continue. Now you can choose a theme right here, but this is just temporary. This is coming from a graphic design and marketing point of view. I do not recommend using the free themes that are just prepackaged with WordPress. Most of them are extremely limited in what you can do with it as far as the layout and stylistically, and make it brand cohesive and all that kind of stuff. These are very limited themes, and I don't recommend using them. But just to get your site up and running, click a theme, select it. It'll kind of give you a preview of what your website will look like with this theme on it. You can see here, this has been clicked out. Forget that for now. We're not going to stick with this theme. Oh, I hate it. Okay, so this is actually a good example of why you shouldn't use the free themes. What we're going to do is we're going to buy one. So, click X. Now this is what your WordPress dashboard looks like. You will become very, very familiar with this the more that you use WordPress. But the first thing we need to do is to choose an appropriate theme. Okay, so here's free ones. There's definitely, if you click Add New, there is a big library just built right into WordPress of themes that you can choose from, and some of them are free and some of them are not. I just don't like using these. So what we typically do is we use ThemeForest. ThemeForest is a marketplace for all kinds of things. Envato Market also is I guess an affiliate of ThemeForest. ThemeForest is just the themes. Envato also has all kinds of graphic design tools, marketing tools, branding tools, you name it, stock photography, stock video, audio, all sorts of stuff. But we use this to get our themes. Now, it's not necessarily the most user-friendly interface to find themes from, so I usually stick to Google for that. So I might say, let's say, I know I said that this was going to be a graphic design WordPress site, but let's say it's for a band. So what I might do is say, best WordPress themes 2017 for bands. All right. Now, one of my favorite recommending blogs is, I don't know how you say that, Color Lib, or I think it's short for Color Library, something like that. This place. They usually make good suggestions, and typically the recommendations that they make have been vetted. So when it comes to choosing a theme, some of the things that you need to be aware of are that the people that build these themes are, companies. And they may be as small as just some dude who lives in the Ukraine who's a good WordPress developer who put together a theme. All the way up to corporations that have large staffs and making themes and plugins for WordPress. That's what they do. You want to find one that has a little stability. The dude in the Ukraine, who may be exceptionally talented at building WordPress stuff, isn't necessarily the most reliable. Every time WordPress comes out with an update, which happens these days about every 90 days or so, the themes will, depending on what the updates are, need to also be updated to continue to remain security compliant. Also, maybe once or twice a year, WordPress will roll out new features and functions, and themes that want to leverage that, sometimes those come out on a new theme update rollout. So, finding a company that has a good rating, that has sold hundreds of thousands of these themes, that, seems easy to use. Just basically all I'm saying, do your homework like anything else. Okay? So let's look at some of these. Lucille, I've never heard of that before. You can do a demo right here on the page. It'll take you to the Theme Forest live preview. And in this case, they have a bunch of them, right? So I can click on the creative. I can see what this WordPress is going to look like. Lucille, not a bad image, but obviously image does not a theme make. You can see right up here you have some social icons. It's got a store. The menu is a hamburger, which is very modern. You have upcoming shows, all that. I like this. Is pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Looks like a lot of band sites. What I don't like are the fonts, the color choices, kind of some of the motion graphics and stuff. This I'm particular. I do come at websites from a visual point of view. I think that the functionality, the layouts, that kind of stuff, all of the sort of machine of the themes is less important than the content you put on it. But I am also prejudiced about fonts and colors and things like that. So I'm not going to do this. What I'm actually going to use is I'm just going to take you to our ThemeForest account. Once you buy something from ThemeForest, you'll have a download section that you can click on, and then this is where all of the themes that you use live. Now, one that we've used several times for bands actually both of these are Chroma, Lush, Forward. All of these are for bands. The advantage to having a theme that is geared towards bands is that there's some kinds of things built into the functionality that you might not find on others. Ocean's a great theme, but it doesn't, for instance, have a calendar built into it, so I would have to use plugins or some other way of making it show an event calendar. Whereas Forward and Lush and Chroma all have built-in calendars, they have built-in discographies, they have a lot of things that bands always need, and so it's just easier to start with that. So for this example, let's download Chroma. I'm going to go ahead and do installable WordPress file only. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to do all files and documentation just so you can see what it looks like. All right, we can X this out. Remember colorlib.com if you're looking for a theme. I'm going to exit that. And we're going to go back to our themes. Now, how do you upload it? Occasionally, this varies, but for the most part, you click it. In this case, download it to this folder. If you see right here, it says theme. That's where it lives. In a different episode, I'll explain to you how a child works and why you should use them. But for this example, just getting a starting point with your new WordPress website, I'm just going to do the straightforward approach, no child. Wait for it to install. Alright, once it's installed, you just need to activate it. Once it's been activated, you're going to see a notification like this that says, oh, hey, you're supposed to install some plugins. So let's install the plugins. You can bulk install, although I will say that when you do them all in bulk, sometimes you get an error. You might end up having to go back and install them individually as well. Yeah, that's what happens sometimes when you do a bulk install. That should be all our plugins. Make sure they're activated. Akismet, I don't know, Akismet, maybe it's a Kismet. That's an anti-spam thing. That's good to have if you're going to be using any kind of blog. It is so common to get spammers putting comments on there. You'll get 300 messages a day. You don't have some kind of anti-spam. Other than that, it looks like everything is up to date with the exception of this. Now, this is one of those things that you can't update if it comes packaged with your theme. So you basically need to check what version your theme is compatible with. And if it's not compatible, if there's a new release that's been made since the one that came with this packaged version of the theme, you got to leave it until they release a new theme update that is compatible with the latest Visual Composer. That's one of the ones that if you update it and your theme can't handle it, it will crash your whole site. So always check your documentation before making plugin updates. Okay? All right. So now, if we go to the front end of the website, what you're going to see is a very basic kind of jank website. Nothing exciting about that. In fact, we got a little message down here. It's not supposed to be. All this content came from the initial demo theme, the free theme that we set up before we installed this one. So now it's time to get rid of that. Now, how do we do this? Well, every theme's a little bit different. So the places that you want to look to start customizing your theme is the first thing you want to look. In this case, we have one called Chroma Music, and that's the name of the theme. So that's the first place I would go to see how to install all of the things they need to install as far as demo content goes. Actually, this one, yeah, this is for music specifically. This is all of the tabs that allow me to customize my theme. Now, if you don't have a line item here that says the name of your theme, the other place that you would go is to Appearance and Customize. Or sometimes there will be Appearance, there'll be another line that says Theme Options. So either Theme Options or Customize, that's where you're going to go to start customizing your theme if you do not have a line named for your theme. Since this one has it, that's where we're going to go. Also bear in mind that when you get a package, it always comes with documentation. If I were to click on this, this is going to take me right to their support page. And the support page, well, this is a searchable one. Anything you might want to know specifically, or you get stuck on something, you can put that in there. But you can also usually YouTube for tutorials specifically. For Chroma, I would go to YouTube and type in Chroma installation tutorial or something like that, and then it'll come up. But there we go. So this is made by Iron Templates. These guys are great. They make a bunch of themes for bands, and we work with a lot of bands. So we use this one a lot. Now, here's all of the different settings that you're going to want to mess with eventually. But the first thing we need to do is to install the demo content. And for this theme, it's been a while since I've used this one. Let me see here. Oh, visit our online documentation, FYI. That's another place we can click on, take you to the same thing. Stuff. All right, so let's get back on track. Here, on this one, we have something called Iron Demo Importer. Click on Settings. All right, look at that. Right built in here, I have demos. So It does not hurt to do a live preview of these and see how they all look before you decide sort of the layout that you like and that you want to use. For the purposes of this tutorial, it's really kind of arbitrary. So I'm just going to pick one, install it, yes please. And here we go. So this is what we just installed. You have a sitemap, you have dummy content, you have a landing page, right? You even have back-end pages set up, music. Oh, this is kind of a everything we can do sort of a thing. This is where your discography would go. I guess I don't have any samples of that. It's built-in shop. They included pages of all the different ways you can show feature content on the music web. So in the next tutorial, we'll actually start going through this particular theme and making decisions and replacing content and getting you to that place where you have a unique website and not one that has essentially just been designed for you. But by doing it this way, you're always going to shorten the process. This way, you're not having to build every page from scratch and learn how to use a theme without anything to reference. This is always going to be the shortcut. So sometimes installing the demo content isn't quite as easy depending on the theme that you choose. Different themes make it easier or not. Occasionally, there's not going to be a plugin. There will be a page kind of like this, but instead of taking you to a menu with all these customization options, there'll be a tab that literally just has point and click install demo content. But other times you have to manually install it, and when you do that, what you have to do, let's close this, is go to Tools, Import, and you're going to have to install WordPress. It's WordPress install, so it's like an importing tool. And it's an importing tool that allows you to import what are called XML files. An XML file is essentially a roadmap for your theme that is reaching through the internet to grab sitemaps and images and stuff that the theme developer has put somewhere and is allowing you to download, or sorry, upload to your site. So in that case, you would just go into your theme folder, and one of the files, rather than say readme.txt, there would be a demo.xml or something called XML. They might actually have it here as well as a backup. Yeah, see, Chroma, the Moons, XML. I would grab that, I would choose that, and then I would upload and import that. That's the other way that you can manually import demo content. But like I said, with the themes that are available today, more and more of them are point and click, drag and drop, that kind of stuff. What you see is what you get, kind of thing. So that concludes our first tutorial. I hope it was helpful. If you got something out of it, check back. I'll add part 2 next week and continue on down the line. Eventually, I hope to field some suggestions or requests from you guys directly, and you can tell me what you would like to learn how to do. But that's all for now. Cheers.